My name is Brad Roth. I am the founder at Thor Funds, and I have been a power user of AI, to say the least. I've used them all. I've used them in many different ways, and I've created a significant amount of efficiencies inside of my own firm, which translates to all of the other financial advisory and RIA firms that I work with on a daily basis. So what I want to do is start to work through very easy workflows that you can implement inside of your practice, take your efficiency to the next level. And we're going to start with the easiest one today, which is creating a morning brief. Okay, today I'm going to show you how to build a morning brief using Claude. You can use Claude, you can use ChatGPT. A lot of people are new to AI. There are people that don't understand what some of these applications can actually do for them, can remove bottlenecks, can make you a lot more efficient. I plan on making a series of these videos on just a handful of different ways. I'm using it. You should be using it. You could be using it. We want to get hours back in our day. This is how we do it. First, you need to download Claude for desktop. Now, again, I don't care if you use ChatGPT. I don't care if you use Claude. Both, I think, are fairly similar. I'm a little bit more biased to Claude. I've been using it for a little bit longer. But I would say if you're using it just going to CLAUDE.ai and using the cloud-based native system, you're losing a lot of kind of the bang for your buck. It doesn't really have the access it needs to your folders, your files, your machine, and it doesn't really give you the ability to kind of like one-shot things and get work done really fast. So it's natively on your machine. So first thing I would do when I pick one is I would download whatever native desktop application they have, either for Mac or for Windows. I don't know why. I just feel like AI runs significantly better on Mac, but if you got a Windows machine, it works there too. Once you download that, you're going to get into a terminal. It's going to open you up into Home. Home is kind of like normal native chat. If you're used to just going to ChatGPT or Claude.ai and typing in and having a discussion with AI, that's going to have that very same look and feel. I do almost nothing inside of kind of native chat, other than, I don't know, I have this bruise. What do you think it's from, right? No, nothing really productive can get done in native chat. When you move over, I would toggle over to the code section. Code, if you have problems or things that you're building or want to build, code will actually just start doing it. So instead of building a plan in chat and trying to go through step by step and doing it yourself, you can one-shot code to be able to really build tasks for you, build out applications, workflows, and more importantly, routines. I think routines is the most powerful thing that these applications can do. And we'll talk about that in another video or maybe later in this video. But setting up routines, in my opinion, is the biggest efficiency unlock you're going to get as somebody, in financial services. You've got a lot of things going on. Routines is going to save you a bunch of time. It's going to enable you to get a lot more work done than you think that you can get done in a single day. And we can show that later. But let's just start super simple. Let's build a very super simple workflow, which is a morning brief, specifically, around your clients or meeting prep and how we can get the information we need at the beginning of the day, rather than, having to spend 20, 30 minutes looking through your CRM, figuring out whose birthday's coming up, figuring out who you're meeting today, reading meeting notes. 20 or 30 minutes doesn't seem like a lot of work, but when you extrapolate that over an entire year, we're talking about 80 hours. So let's get 80 hours back by doing maybe one of the most simple Claude workflows there is. So first, we're going to need data to work with, right? You have a native CRM or a CRM that you're working with. I'm going to build, fake test data first. I think building out any workflow with test data first before giving it access to your real data is the way you want to go. So we're going to start with the first prompt, which is just give us some dummy data. Now, generally, when I work with AI, there is a button right down here that allows you to speak to it. I prefer to speak to my terminals. It seems weird, but I can really get out the essence of what I'm trying to do. I can speak for 2 minutes. I can speak for 20 minutes and really just spit out everything that I'm trying to accomplish. But for this particular instance, I can't talk in this microphone on camera and also talk into it on Claude. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to copy a prompt and then we'll read it here, which is, I'm a financial advisor, create a small sample practice in a folder so I can test a morning brief system before using real data. So what do I want? I want 8 households. I want the name, primary contact, age, AUM, birth dates. I want holding files. I want calendar with meeting dates and times, and I want notes. So a short markdown file per household. You've got notes in your CRM. That's what we want to do. So I have a typo in here, create small practice in, let's just say, a folder on my desktop. So we can, all right, so let's see what it does. So this is going to start running. It's going to read what we have here. It's going to say, I need access to other things. Let's give it access. That is probably the most annoying thing about getting started with AI is it starts to ask for permission to use things and to do things. That's short-lived. Don't get caught up in having to, think that you're always going to have to be behind the screens clicking buttons. The second unlock is right down here, which is modify how much leash are you going to give Claude? I always run bypass permissions mode. That prevents me from having to sit behind and being, a prisoner in my chair, waiting and saying, yes, you can do that. Yes, you can do that. Yes, you can do that. It's not going to do things dangerously in these types of workflows as long as you give it proper commands. There are certain things which might be a little bit more sensitive where you do want to see what it's doing and approve what it's doing. But for me, I like to just run bypass permissions mode. It just runs. It allows me to get up. It allows me to go get a cup of coffee, which I have right here. And I don't have to sit here and wait. It'll give me an alert on my phone when it's done and we move to the next step. But as you can see, it just built this sample practice, the files in here. We'll open them here in a second. But as you can see, it's still running this command. And it's creating these fake or data meeting notes. And so once this is done, we'll be able to take this file, give it in here, and write basically what each file contains. And we'll start to build this kind of morning brief that you can get in your inbox every single day. Okay, so it's done. Took about 3 minutes. Pause the video while that happened. What did it create? It created 8 households, AUM between 415,000 and 3 million. We've got 4 positions in each. We've got 3 meetings today, and we've got notes. And so we have these fake households, and so 2 things worth knowing when you test. The drift stories are written into the notes as well as numbers. Check where the briefs connect to the sources. Okay, so basically it put in here things that it needs to flag for us on purpose. We did that on purpose so we can test that our brief is actually going to pick it up. So what we need to do next is we need to create our next prompt, which again, I've copied and pasted here. I'll paste in here, but we'll read it here live on camera, which is, let's create a CLAUDE.md so any future sessions understand this practice without me explaining it again. This is your second unlock. Most people just continually use AI and hope it remembers. The best benefit of using Claude or ChatGPT locally on your desktop is you can start to create this brain and keeping your internal notes for it to reference to. So when you start any work, you could say, reference this file, right? Let's say you're building, which we'll get into, a daily newsletter, right? Reference the newsletter file before you do anything. Know what we wrote yesterday. Know what we wrote last week. Let's not be repetitive. Let's keep building on things, right? This is extremely important. So in this prompt, we're creating that. So any future session understands this particular practice without me having to explain it again. So it knows where each file lives. It knows what the columns mean. It knows what the target weights are. And then we're going to add these rules. Drift matters when current weight is more than 5 percentage point from target. So if you're a financial advisor, you have certain drift. You want alerted over a certain percentage. This is where we start to build our rules. We want cash percentage. If it's over 10%, let's flag that. Let's review if a review is overdue. If we haven't met with somebody in a while, let's let us know in this brief. Don't invent a number. If it's not in the data, say it's not in the data. AI has a tendency to want to cheat. It wants to hallucinate some things. It will flat out make shit up. And so without you telling it not to, it will sometimes do it. And then you have to tell it it's a liar, and then it backtracks. So make sure we put it in there. Refer to household names, never by ID. So we don't want it ever to refer to an account number And so we are going to put this in, and it's going to start working, running this command. This will probably take a handful of a minute or two, but this is going to basically set the rules, the ground rules going forward for every time we run this. It knows exactly what to do. And so look, Claude, it's the MD file is written. Everything's explained. It's going through our two things I added beyond what you listed. So it's asking us if we want to do these things. A note, the test date is 8/19. The calendar only has meetings for that day, so future sessions running on a real date would otherwise see an empty calendar and might guess why. I said to either shift the dates or treat 8/19 as today. Okay, that's fine. Cache is a position, not a residual. It has its own role and with its own target weight. So rule 1 and 2 can both fire on the same cache line. All right, worth deciding whether you want the brief to report that as 1 finding or 2. I think we'll leave both of these things alone for right now. If you want to clarify, we're just doing a simple walkthrough here, so I don't think these things need addressed. But let's actually get this brief built here in the next prompt. So what we're going to do is actually create the brief. What do we want to see? What do we want to see every morning in our inbox without me having to go through and actually read this stuff? So create a / command called brief. All right. So basically what this says is we are creating a output, a brief every day with what we need. So today, so what is it going to produce? Today, every meeting on today's date from calendar CFV with times and locations. Where am I supposed to be today? Am I on Zoom? Am I going across town? What time with who? Who am I seeing? So for each household on today's calendar, 2 or 3 sentences pulled from their most recent notes. What happened last time? Did they say any preferences? What should I come into this meeting prepared for? Any open items, every action marked open in the notes for a household on today's calendar with today's date. Portfolio flags. Is there drift? Is there cash? Is there too much cash? Overdue or due today? When is the next review? Should we, is somebody currently past due? Any birthdays this week? That was, you got to wish your clients happy birthday. This is important. So where are we saving it? Save the output to this date. What we will eventually do, this is going to save it locally on your desktop. I think we could take it further into another workflow, which is actually sending this to you in an email. Having to look and search through files to me is annoying. I want to open my eyes at 6:30 in the morning. This is already sitting in my inbox. So let's send this. This is going to start building our brief, excuse me, and we can start to figure out what needs our attention today. So I'm going to let this run for a couple of minutes, and then we'll get to our next pop. We'll see what this outputs. But this is maybe the simplest workflow we can try to build. But like I said just a handful of minutes ago, this is so powerful that if you want to get this on autopilot in a routine so that every morning at 6 o'clock, this is running and it's in your inbox, you can customize this however you want. And so look, it already created our sample brief. It's created at desktop CLAUDE.md. And we haven't run it yet. So the brief, expect 3 meetings and already knows what's in it. So let's say, hey, look, thanks for putting it in that folder. Let's say, please put it on the desktop so I can easily pull it up while I do this demo. So instead of me having to run through and figure out where this file is on my machine, it's just going to take it. It's going to put it on desktop. And so we'll be able to, a couple of things here. No, it doesn't. It means you need to put it on the desktop, a visible copy of the brief. No, let's do a generated sample of the brief. Let's run the brief. Let's get it a finished version on my desktop so we can really see what it's built and what you would see every single day. And again, this is fully customizable. I'm doing this as a quick, fun little demo. You can come in here and build very extensive outputs if you want. You could make it look cool if you want. You can put charts in there. You can do whatever you want, right? I think the key is don't start getting caught up with having to use AI consistently every single day physically like I'm doing right now, right? The idea is spend a lot of time building out a workflow that works for you that then allows you to spend your time doing other things, right? If you really think through how to build out a workflow to remove a bottleneck or to make your life easier, add it to the routine, you're done with it forever. Maybe you want to tweak it in the future. That's just, we can update it. But here we go. It's run the brief. It put this file right here on my desktop. And so let's open it. Let's see what it says. It's in a boring text file right now, but let's see. So today I've got 3 meetings. I've got an annual review, RMD strategy, beneficiary update, Bergstrom, a meeting this afternoon. They're concentrated in Apple. They want to talk about gifting and charitable options. That is on Zoom. And I got a planning check-in 5/29. So who are we seeing? We're seeing Ann Ferraro. Last contact was July 30th. She confirms she wants the RMD taken as one distribution over. You could see how powerful this is, right? How easy you could just get up, wipe your eyes, stare at your iPhone. We all know the first thing you grab in the morning is your iPhone and have everything that you need to know that day. Open items has all of these open items, portfolio flags. So anything that we need to see here, this is all drift information. Overdue, we've got nothing due today, coming up, nothing within the next couple of days. We've got reviews coming up in 6 and 7 days. Carl Bergstrom, he turns 74 in 2 days. Happy birthday, fake Carl. But you could see how this is going to be very beneficial to your morning workflows by being able to get this information. So everything works here, but let's take this just one step further. And what I would do is a couple of things. You can set up via integration with your email. So going into settings here, and we'll go into extensions. We can browse any extension. So right here, it can read and send anything in iMessage. If you want this texted to you, great. Send me a text in the morning. But if I want to browse any extensions and I want to attach my Gmail to this, or I want to attach my Outlook or put it in Google Drive, that is the next iteration of this. I don't want to have to get up every morning and search for a file and read this brief. I want it in my inbox. I want to see it. That's where I do my work, in my inbox. The next thing we should talk about is routines. Okay. The easiest way to do this is to just stay in our Claude Code session, sample practice. Okay. We're going to stay in our Claude Code session. And all you're going to type is, please make this a daily routine with all of our rules at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. It should run daily. Now, I don't have my email hooked up on this instance of Claude, but what I would do is I would tell it I want it emailed to me to this specific email address. We're going to hit enter, and it's going to create this daily routine, and you're never going to have to do this workflow again. Now, before we kind of finish and conclude here, you could make this way more seamless. Everybody has a CRM. Doesn't matter who you use, doesn't matter how you use it, but you could connect Claude directly to your CRM to pull your live information. And so you're not, creating files, you're not dumping files, you're not exporting files, right? You could connect Claude directly using Claude Code, could create an API connection. So you're getting this information directly every single day. And this is running off of that live information. That's kind of one step further. But as you can see, that this is not hard to do. The most important thing you need to do is plan and really think about your workflow. How can I do the least amount of possible and get the best end result? And that is going to be through pulling this live, setting up your rules. What do you want to see in my brief? Okay, let's set it up as a routine and let's get it emailed to me. So it took all of maybe 15 minutes. We now have a daily morning brief set up. It's going to be in your inbox every single day. You're going to get it live, use that data, get some of your time back. Next, I think I want to talk about advisors are really always thinking about growth and content and things that they can be doing. I think maybe we'll talk about that next. But right now, you've just got 20 or 30 minutes of your day back. You know exactly what's going on in the morning. You know all the flags. You know everything you need to be prepped for that meeting. You can get more detail. Just tell Claude to give you more detail. But that's how you build a workflow from start to finish to get your daily morning briefs.